Good morning, folks. We've got some critical items to hit today. Rope-a-dope for the finish. But right now, we've got eyes on the northeastern limb as bright, well-defined umbral fields crest into view, active regions likely sitting beneath them. Let's go to spaceweathernews.com and find that the Earth-facing portion of our star is much less active, does contain a fairly well-sized coronal hole, and we do expect intensified solar wind from that one, especially with the transition of the solar wind overnight. Plasma speed and density are relatively normal, but up in blue. Got the phi angle flip overnight, and coronal hole stream is on its way this weekend as geomagnetic conditions sit quietly awaiting the intensified stream. One quick shot for beauty here as we can see the sun gets the jitters too. Plasma packets suspended above arching coronal fields, trembling 4 Earth diameters above the solar surface. Sticking with aesthetics for a moment more, Earth Observatory shared this mountain wave ripple image, like the wake behind a boat, except here, there's many boats. They're not boats, but mountains, and it's the cloud layer that's moving. It's important to recognize natural waves, lines, angles, and even the shapes of electromagnetic current, like the hexagon on Saturn or the pentagon on Jupiter. I would offer that the number one improvement our geoengineering opposition could make would be to do a better job recognizing the natural forms of weather, especially the ones that don't necessarily look natural to the eye, so that we can not only actually pick out the real modifications, but stop making ourselves look silly to people we talk to. Just some advice. Quick Central Pacific update. From water temp to water temp anomaly, we find a nice muted mix indicating ENSO neutral conditions. Just as an FYI, here is what El Niño looked like back in 2016. There is no mistaking the water temperature anomalies of a strong El Niño or La Niña. Folks, many of you caught wind of that mini moon they have imaged. I have to say, either they got the JPL orbital diagram wrong for this thing, or it's no moon of Earth. As we send the model running forward in time, we quickly notice that under this model, it is indeed not a moon. Within months, we've left it behind, and in a few decades, we'll catch up to it again. Based on just the orbital diagram, I'd call it a near-Earth asteroid, non-elliptical, and orbiting the Sun, not the Earth. Back to beauty before we beat back the best of the day. Asteroid Bennu, fully mapped by OSIRIS-REx, including one of the largest boulders on the asteroid, which they have named Ben. Just going to tell myself that's my rock and see how things shake out. Okay, now we need to hit the 3 top stories, and starting with Ophiuchus, they're saying that its galactic nucleus had a cosmic jet outburst that is the largest explosion they've ever seen in the universe, more than 5 times more powerful than the one in second place. But there may be a bit of an issue here. They say they are looking at a cavity carved out by one of the jets, then presume all of the radio return beyond that is synchrotron radiation from the jet magnetic fields. The problem is, as we go from infrared to radio to X-ray, it appears that the segmentation and cavity they identify might be a real reach. Literally, this is the state of science. They think they see a little demarcation line in X-ray. They match a bulge in the radio return and voila. They just claim it was 5 times the most powerful explosion in space. Personally, I'd think we'd see some jets in radio at very least, maybe infrared, but no. Nothing. Just their word. Up next, it's not often we get a cosmology paper capable of a double whammy, but we've got it here. It turns out we have to drastically reduce the number of first stars that have the staying power to still be around today. Now obviously, this contrasts with the Methuselah star being only 200 light-years away, implying that super-old stars should be much more common. The more they investigate the fracturing of the primordial mass, the more control these magnetic fields seem to be imparting on the dynamics, like a referee breaking up a tussle. The Methuselah star just became an even bigger problem for cosmology. And even if it weren't implied in the explanation, they expressly note that the primordial fields likely had a vastly greater sculpting ability on the cosmos than the large-scale fields do today. This ties back into the off-cycle or extinct current hypothesis of the universe, like a piece of burnt toast, tossed out the window along with the toaster, and they brought you in, not knowing what toast is, and said, find the source of that smell. Good luck. Up next, oh, you look friendly. Well, folks, why not? If a congressional committee can't get you thrown off the internet, maybe UNESCO will try to get you thrown in jail. We've crossed the line in so many ways here the last year, it ceases to be amusing. Now, the danger they see with the warming world, which, by the way, is a parameter guess based on the most extreme scenario, and which they admit is not likely to occur, apparently is still enough to scare the bejesus out of them and warrant the deprivation of people's freedom and liberty. Forget the fact that every single thing they cite is already changing, has ignored the elephant in the solar system for 40 years. They just want their opposition gone, silenced. They liken them to people in a theater. Some are yelling fire, while others, the ones they say are the climate deniers, are saying there is no fire and nothing to worry about. I would like to thank UNESCO and the mentally deficient author of this paper for literally proving the lack of vision I attempted to show you just in yesterday's program. It is not this black and white. For example, they're forgetting the people saying, hey, this fire is in the kitchen, it's that darn toaster again, left the toast in there too long, and if you run outside, you will escape the essence of that burned toast, but Antifa is out there waiting for you. Didn't get my metaphor? That's okay. Enough I'm sure did. We greatly appreciate your support. We've got wind map forecasts and shots of our star to close, and of course, we'll do this all again tomorrow, right here, but right now it's 4:20 a.m. in the new Valley of the Sun. Eyes open, no fear. Be safe, everyone.